Inside the Birds is back. What's going on, everybody? It's Geoff, Mosher, Adam, Caplan. We got a really fun podcast here. This was Adam's idea. It was a great one. And what we're going to do as we are on the doorstep of training camp, Eagles training camp, which starts next week, is we wanted to do a different type of outlook on the season. Adam always has these good ideas. Let's take some future props on the Eagles, either individually or as a team, see what the odds makers are saying about the Eagles, and then we kind of rehash it ourselves. We see if it's realistic. We kind of pick the over-under in some of these cases. And what it does, Adam, is I feel like even if you're not into gambling, like I don't really bet, it gives you an idea of how Vegas, which is trying to look at this thing objectively, like will analyze the Eagles and where we think they are right, where we think they are a little off. So let's bring up a great example, right? Last year, I think when we did this last year, you made a remark that should be like etched in stone somewhere and shown every Eagles fan. Last year, wasn't the prop on Saquon Barkley's rushing very, very like low for someone of his caliber?
Extremely low. Was depending on which book you looked at. It was like 1,050 yards. It might have started like even lower than that. I think it ended around certainly under 1,100. So, yeah, I thought it was a lock. Now, obviously, the books are trying to protect themselves with Barkley's injury history, which we know is significant. But I remember saying on Sports Grid, he's going to get it by week 11 or 12.
Yeah.
He got it before if he stays healthy. And I have to look it up at what week he broke 1,000. But see, the question is, right? We'll get to his prop later. Everyone keeps asking us, okay, they're going to be more of a passing team. Well, it depends. You tell me, is Barkley playing 17 games? And I could tell you how much they're going to throw at more or the same. That's it. They're a running team. That's not changing. As long as Barkley's here, that's not going to change. It can't because they're paying him they're paying him for the offense to go through him. Okay,
right.
That's the
right.
deal.
And that's also where it's been it's experienced its most success that way. So
they won a Super Bowl with it. Well, they got there to the Super Bowl. They got helped by the Chiefs deciding that they're going to not let Barkley beat them and Hurts beat them. So it's interesting how that works.
There it is. All right, so that's good. So I find the team ones. We'll start off with some of the team props that we found, and you used MGM, correct?
Correct. Yep.
On your odds. Okay. These ones are the toughest ones, really. I mean, individually, I think is a little bit easier because you can kind of forecast what kind of year a guy have. But team ones, the schedule changes every year. Injuries play a part. But they have the Eagles for 11.5 wins. That is the over-under number, with the over at plus 105 and the under at minus 125. So I feel like that's interesting that the minus 125 for the under, so that means that's more of the expected outcome here of the 11.5 wins, which I kind of agree with. It would be difficult. It is the Eagles could win the Super Bowl by winning 11 games, so it's not like a knock on them. It's going to be a harder schedule. I think it'll be tougher for them to win in that 13 to 15 win range this year.
So if you look at their schedule last year, before they went on an incredible run of winning 16 out of 17, they had the fake home game in Brazil, which, okay, technically it's a home game, but it was not really home. Then they hosted the Falcons, which they lost. That was an awful game. It was just not good for anyone.
Awful.
Then that was the Fangio game, was week 3 when he changed the front. Then the key players were not playing at Tampa. People talk about the House of Horrors, but there's always context. Yeah. Did they have other players? No, they didn't. And it's ironic that they're playing them again in week 4 at Tampa. It'll be hot. So they had actually a very favorable schedule. So when you look at this year's, it's harder. Home against the Cowboys, okay, this is a game they should win. And at KC, rematch of the Super Bowl. Host the Rams. We know what happened in the playoffs. It was a hell of a game. And again, at Tampa, then the Eagles host the suddenly improved Broncos from last season. So, the schedule's way harder to start the season.
Right. I mean, they theoretically could be just as good as last year, but not win 13 or 14 games. That's just
won 14.
The nature. Yeah. Right. So that's the nature of it. So that is their over-under total, 11.5. In general, I think that's fairly high, even for a good team, right? You very rarely see anybody with an over-under total to start the year of 12, 13, or 14 or anything like that.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I saw 13. Every once in a while, you'll see 12, 11.5. And we don't play, win-loss game. We just take an overview. Now, the Eagles, of course, have been one of the top road teams since Sirianni has been here as the Eagles head coach, so it doesn't really matter where they play; they win everywhere. Which does matter though when you're looking at the over prop, that because you look at home. Okay, they'll probably lose 1 or 2 games at home, but can they win the road? The answer is yes, because they're great on the road. That's not a problem for them. They have that portable game plan. They're really well prepared. I would probably go with the over though. And again, you're getting plus money, so you bet 100, you get your bet back, and you get 105 in your winning. So that's, again, if you believe it like I do, I believe they'll have 12 or 13 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's of course if the key players are playing. And the other thing is, and we've talked about this briefly in the last couple of months, the depth is going to be tested at some point. I mean, you're not going to stay 100% healthy, and that's the key to being a really good team is what kind of depth you have.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so that's the win total. Let's move on to winning the NFC East. They are minus 150 to win the NFC East, which makes them a pretty heavy favorite, which is interesting because, the odds makers will take into account everything, including history. And we know that no team has won this division back to back in 20 years since the Eagles did it in 2003 and 2004. That's a long, long time. And there were some pretty good teams all throughout the division in that span. So that says something. But Vegas is clearly telling you that if there's going to be a team that does it, they really feel strongly about the Eagles.
Yeah, this one is really strong, and I get it. Like we're headed to 21 years here, depending on what happens. But you have to look at those 20 years. Washington's just been awful for the most part, right? Under Daniel Snyder, he's out. But they've been bad. Now they've turned it around. Let's see if they could repeat success. Dallas is wildly consistent. You never know year to year what you're getting. And the Giants have been one of the class organizations for years, but they've been downtrodden. So, yeah, it really sets up the Eagles well to win this division. If the key players are healthy, yeah. And we'll get to the rest of the team props in a minute. This one is, I feel a lot stronger about this one than the wins prop, to be honest with you.
You do?
I take the history. I get that, but you look, the Eagles. I know that they're going to have a minimum of 5 new defensive starters, but they have a new offense coordinator who hasn't called plays before. But Fangio's back. The key players on offense, they're all back.
Right.
Now, there are questions on defense. So, yeah, you could say, okay, they're not a 14-win team. They were 14-3 last season.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere, to me, around 11 or 12.
Right.
But they're the class of the division. I mean, let's put it this way. If you don't think they're going to win, who's going to win the division?
Yeah, that's a good point. I could see the Eagles winning the division at 11 games, and that would be under the 11.5, but it would still be the winner of the NFC East. So you're right. I would say winning the division seems like a safer bet than the 11.5 over under, because you don't need to win the division potentially with 12 wins, because the teams might just beat up on each other a little bit. We've talked about the NFC East being a little better.
Washington's schedule is much more favorable for the first 5 weeks or 4 weeks. They host the Giants, at the Packers, they host the Raiders, and then they're at Atlanta. I mean, that is much easier than the Eagles schedule.
Right.
And it would behoove them, if you're Washington, to get off to a great start so you could hang in there for the division. So we'll see what happens. And overall, the Eagles have a tougher schedule based on the way these teams look this season.
Yeah. But who's Washington's AFC game, like the extra AFC game? Like
I'll give you all. Yeah, I'll give you their AFC games. They're at the Chargers week 5.
Mm-hmm.
Week 8, they're at the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
They're week 11, they're at Miami. They host after their bye in week 12, with late bye. They host the Broncos. So those are
Miami is the extra game for them then, right? The extra AFC game, because it's the non AFC West.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So for the Eagles, it's the Bills. If for the Eagles, it's the Bills. For them, it's Miami. So that makes a huge difference right then and there. Yeah.
Miami's stuck in neutral. They don't know who they are, what they want to be. They seem to me like a disaster. But yeah, now if you don't think the Eagles going to win the division, you have to go with Washington, just based on the way things are going.
Right.
I just cannot see Dallas winning the division. They have a lot of talent, but they just don't. They're not. They never, or they rarely achieve their talent status. Like they don't. It looks great on paper until they actually play, and they're wildly inconsistent. You look at the roster, you go, "Wow, this is a pretty good roster." For whatever reason, they don't get there.
All right. Good, good. All right, so let's move on to the conference. They have, interestingly, the same exact odds to be the number one seed in the NFC as they do to win the NFC and go to the Super Bowl, and that's plus 325. Which, hey, if you really think the Eagles are going back, this is a good way to make money if you're I guess convicted in it.
Yeah, no, and look, they could get to the Super Bowl without being a number one seed.
Mm-hmm.
Winning the NFC at plus 325. I think it's a fair number. I do. I just think the NFC East one is a little stronger for me. I'm not worrying about the 20 years. I know it's ridiculous. You only have 4 teams in the division. How the hell is this possible? We had a back-to-back winner. Just the Eagles won 4 in a row. 0-1 for 0-4.
Right.
But yeah, to be the number one seed. See, I'm not. I don't think it'll really matter too much for the Eagles if they're not the number one seed. Because they're such a good road team.
Right.
If they have the key players, they could win anywhere. That's one of the most impressive things and not talked about enough is how great the Eagles have been on the road under Sirianni. Top 3 road team. Pretty remarkable. Now, I give also, by the way, Dan Campbell, they were one of the worst road teams in NFL history before he took over. Now, the first year was terrible, but they went on the road. I mean, hell, they were 15-2 last season. So,
right.
If you're the Eagles, it's not easy to go to Detroit. Short airplane ride, about an hour. But again, they could do this. The Eagles have shown, Detroit's shown that they can win on the road.
Yeah, that's true. So maybe you probably feel more confident putting your money on them to win the NFC and don't try to do it as to be the number one because they could easily win the NFC without being the home field team.
Exactly.
All right, cool. And by the way, you could be the home field team, right? Weren't they the home field team last year as the number 2 seed because the Lions got knocked off by
Washington. Yeah, Washington smoked them. Yeah.
Right. So they were sort of like a number 1 seed, but really weren't because they were the number 2. All right. And then to win the Super Bowl, as we finish it off, you're at plus 650. Now it's the shortest odds of all 32 teams. So that means right now the odds makers see the Eagles as the best opportunity to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, plus 650. So you bet 100, you get your 100 back if you win, and you get 650 if you win the bet. So, yeah, they have the shortest odds. They're the favorite to win the Super Bowl again. That's, to be back-to-back. That one surprises me. I thought it would be a little longer because of all the changes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the odds makers totally don't understand how much change means. They just go by what happened last year and don't understand about all the change. Now, the question is, okay, if you don't think the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl, who do you like? Could Buffalo finally get there? They're great in the regular season, they're okay in the postseason, but they haven't got Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Kansas City, they were 15-2, but man, now their issue was their offensive line was dreadful. They went through 4 left tackles. Now they think they've solved it. They kind of oversolved it with Simmons and Jalen Moore. And Jalen Moore, it wouldn't surprise me if he winds up being the right tackle because Simmons looks like he's got a real shot to be ready for the regular season, coming back from the patella injury. But Baltimore, man, Lamar was unbelievable. Yeah,
that would be I'm not my team, but that would be the team that if I were the odds makers, because of everybody that they retained from last year and then they added in the offseason, I just feel like the Baltimore has the strongest overall 53 and the least amount of questions right now.
I would agree. Yeah, I would probably go with Baltimore. The Lions, 2 new coordinators, lack of a pass rush. They'll be good, but I'm just not on them like I was the past couple of years. I see a problem where the GM is great. Brad Holmes is really good, but for him not to address the pass rush issue, I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what they do at the deadline, but I agree with you. I think even the loss of the coordinators makes you wonder, they had such an amazing year, not just a good year, but just a prolific year offensively that you wonder, can they keep that up year after year? But maybe they don't need to. Maybe they'll be healthier on defense and won't have to score 35 points a game. But I would definitely put the Eagles, the Ravens, and the Lions as probably in that elite company of I'm not trying to disrespect the Chiefs. I just think that they're going to win a lot of games, but I don't know. It's hard to recover from getting your ass kicked the way you did in the Super Bowl like that,
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have a revamped left tackle situation. I know they want to open up the offense, and we'll see. But this one is pretty open, man. I'm not, again, the Eagles absolutely could make another run to the Super Bowl. It's one of these situations, and I know training camp could fool us. Sometimes you think you see something, then it becomes the exact opposite. Mm-hmm. That sometimes you think the team's really good and they're not. That the training camp could fool you, but I'm interested to see when it comes to the Eagles, how all these changes on defense with the new players and having one of the top 3 youngest teams in the National Football League on defense, what it looks like. I'm very interested to see that.
Yeah, me too. All right, so let's go into the individual ones, and the Jalen Hurts ones are really interesting and challenging, I would say. So first off, the rushing prop on Jalen Hurts is 605, and it's basically the same. It's over that is -110, and under that is -110, which is the biggest way of saying this is a 50-50 shot here. You could be either or. So 600 is an interesting number, and if you look at his history of rushing, like last year he was at 630, the year before 605, and the 2 years before that he was over 700 yards. So if you just look at the last 4 years, his entire body of starting, you say there's no way he doesn't rush for over 600 yards because he's never done it.
Right now, and again, last year he missed 2 regular season games and had 630.
Yep.
Now the only thing is that, and we said this at the top, I strongly believe they're going to throw the ball more, but it's impossible to get a good percentage higher. Mm-hmm. This depends on, is Barkley did miss a game due to injury last season.
Right.
You would think teams being able to study the way the Eagles, what their plan is, and seeing what the Chiefs did. Chiefs shut down Barkley in Super Bowl. Hurts threw the ball, right? Mm-hmm. But the question is, if we know Hurts is still a meaningful part of the running game, it's to me, it's going to be similar to last season. I don't see much of a change other than they might throw it a little bit more. Now, it doesn't mean that Hurts can't run the ball well when he runs it. So, yeah, I would agree with you to move this along here. If I had to take a side, I would take the over.
I would as well. All right. So the next one for him would be passing yards, 3,200.5 passing yards. Once again, 110 over, 110 under. So they're telling you just as likely to do one or the other. 3,200 yards, Adam. How many yards do you think, maybe you know offhand, I'm just going to quiz you. Yeah. Do you know how many passing yards Jalen Hurts threw for last year?
I know it was extremely low. I mean, he had a career low in attempts for a full season. Mm-hmm. It definitely was under 3,000. I don't remember what the number was.
Yeah, 2,903. Isn't that crazy? Wow. Do you know how far you have to go back to find a quarterback who won the Super Bowl passing for a starting quarterback who started like 12 games in a year at least, who won a Super Bowl but didn't pass for 3,000 yards? It doesn't happen very often.
No, I mean, look, it worked, right? It worked. In the NFL, if it works and you won a Super Bowl with it, and having Hurts throw less, goes through Barkley, you win more. Eagles ran the ball more than they threw it in the first half of games, which is something we thought we never would hear or say. He was more accurate. I know people like to point that out. That's great. I mean, that helps. Wasn't turning it over. He only turned the ball over in terms of throwing it 5 times. That's great.
Right.
Interception rate was lower. But you've got Smith and Goddard's back, and you've got A.J. Brown, of course. So now I look at this number, and the odds makers are thinking like I am. There's no way he's under 3,000 yards this season. They're now, here's the problem with that, though. They're going to 3,200.5. Is it no? Well, here's the question. So Brown's traded to the Eagles first year. Hurts was phenomenal, 3,701, right?
Right.
Now the next year, because Hurts was great, they went crazy. The pass attempts were way up there. Hurts struggled, had individual good games, but overall it was disappointment. The tape was not great. We know that we've talked to so many people who told us this, the same thing.
Right.
It wasn't just him. It was just a lot around him, coaching and all that. So Howie made a decision to bring in Barkley, took the ball out of Hurts' hands. It worked. That doesn't mean you can't throw the ball a little bit more. See, 2,903 was his number. And by the way, he missed 2 games. See, this is he missed 2 games, and so maybe he would have thrown for 3,200. In fact, he probably would have, because I mean, I know it's crazy. I mean, he's throwing for less than 150 yards a game, but you got to throw for 150 yards a game on average. Come on, that's got to happen.
Yeah,
I would probably take over. That's what I would do, but I don't love it.
I agree with you.
Because it's Barkley.
I agree with you. It's also an injury dependent stat. Like he would have thrown for more than 3,000 yards last year.
Oh yeah.
He played one or two more games. What did he wind up missing? Like 2 starts, and then he got rested in the season finale. So
Only 2 games. He only missed 2 games.
only those 2 games, right? So it makes you kind of like, is that going to happen again? He does run the ball. He takes a lot of hits, takes a lot of sacks, by the way. That's another thing where you have to evaluate.
Yeah, that was surprising think about this. He dropped back. Okay, he attempted 460 passes in his great year in 22. He got sacked 38 times. He got sacked 38 times last year. You're talking about way less dropbacks, way less passes, almost 100 fewer attempts. Now, sacks are individual plays. You have to find out. You have to ask. Yes, the sack rate was 9.5, which is not good. But
it's crazy. You're very. By the way, you very infrequently find a quarterback as successful with him with a sack rate that high.
I know, but you have to, as people have told us, every play has to be individualized in terms of your evaluation. Okay, who was it on? Was it on the lineman or the quarterback?
Yeah, but we watched enough tape to know last year that and we know that how good the offensive line is. It was really a case of where if he just didn't see it, he didn't throw it, and he was really good at protecting the ball while taking sacks. That 9.5 percentage is as much on him as it is on any other line.
Right, you just said it though. So he might have maybe he should have gotten rid of it, but he didn't throw a pick. That's the positive of it. Yes, you should not be getting sacked 38 times. You're only dropping back 361 for the season. That's not good. But again, 2 years ago in 23, the interception, some of them were like, man, what are you doing? Well, you didn't have that last year.
Right. That's what I just think the only thing you have to wonder if you're placing money or just trying to do an outlook is he really good at protecting the ball while getting sacked, not fumbling, not throwing interceptions? And will that be him for the rest of his career? Or was that a little bit flukish? Because again, there's not a lot of guys who get hit that much who don't turn the ball over frequently. So because he didn't take sacks like this 2 years ago or even the year before that. The 9.52 is so much higher than in 2023 when it was 6.27 and 2022 when it was 7.63 that you have to question sort of the flukishness and the anomaly of it and which direction it's going to go in when it evens itself out. Is it going to be more turnover prone, or is it going to take less sacks and be a little bit more, see it a little more clearly?
Well, on what you just said, it's seeing a little bit more clearly. Let's not forget, this is only his 5th year as a starting NFL quarterback, 5th full year.
Yep.
And yes, they have a new play caller, his 6th in the National Football League. But the thing is, you learn as you go along at this position. So the hope is he'll have a little bit better feel about when to get rid of the football. But the thing, it's funny we talk about this. I just distinctly remember us talking about it, in fact, with Greg Cosell, how it's very clear. Yes, he did take 38 sacks, but overall, in terms of not turning it over, get rid of it. Don't make the bad decision. And it was very clear that he was coached to do that.
100%. All right, passing touchdowns as we finish off Jalen Hurts, 19.5. The over is minus 130. The under is plus 110. So the odds makers are telling you more likely to be under the 19.5 touchdowns, which makes somewhat sense. I mean, last year he was at 18 touchdowns, again, missed 2 games, so he might have been able to get over it based on his average, but that was the case. And then the 2 years before that, 23 touchdowns, 22 touchdowns. So he's going to be in that 18 to 21 range, most likely, unless it's like a flukish season.
Yeah, I don't like this one at all because of Barkley's presence.
Me too.
If they had it was Dylan and Will Shipley at running back, different story. They're gonna go. It's gonna look like 22. It's gonna be bombs away. But not with Barkley there. So, yeah, I don't like this one. This is one of those NPs, no plays.
Got it. By the way, great stat for you, historical stat. Do you think you can name the last quarterback who won a Super Bowl throwing 18 or fewer touchdowns and throwing for 2,903 or fewer yards? Basically, Jalen Hurts' passing stats last year. The last person to win a touchdown.
No, I can't.
Almost 20 years. Ben Roethlisberger, 2005.
Oh, yeah. They were hiding him. I remember that one. Yeah.
Right. And then before that, I could give you probably 50 guesses. You would.
Trent Dilfer. I don't know.
Phil Simms in 1990. Wow. That just shows you how rare. Only 7 quarterbacks in the history of the game have won a Super Bowl with those kind of.
Now, was that the year he got hurt and Jeff Hostetler played, or I don't remember.
No, I think that's the 1990. I thought the first one was it. He started 14 games that year.
Okay.
No, I don't remember. It could have been the Hostetler, but I thought he missed more games the Hostetler year. But
he broke his foot or leg. Yeah.
All right. The 7 quarterbacks are Hurts, Roethlisberger, Phil Simms, Roger Staubach, Terry Bradshaw, Rob Greasy, and Johnny Unitas. So interesting there.
Wow.
Yeah. Talk about a throwback.
Some good company. It's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some Hall of Famers in there.
Saquon Barkley. We move on to him, and maybe you can be, Caplan Stradamus again for the second straight year. This time, the number is a lot more reasonable. His rushing yards are 1,500.5. Over that is plus 100. Under that is minus 120. Odds makers are saying, yeah, he's capable of this, but it wouldn't surprise us if he fell short of 1,500.
Yeah, and he was rested the 1 week. He still got over 2005. Obviously, he's not getting that again. It's never happened.
Mm-hmm.
So if he plays 15 games, he's going over 1,500. If I had to take a side, I don't love this one. I know history's not great for the guys repeating that success in terms of just having another dominant year. And with Saquon's injury history, it's going to be tough.
That's what scares me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. This would be a no play to me, but if I had to do it, I would take the over plus 100. Just because, see, the thing with him is he's so gifted, so dynamic, and he's going to have a couple 200-yard games here or there. Just that's going to happen with his offensive line.
Yeah.
But everything around him has got to be great. We don't know about right guard. We don't know yet how it's going to look. That's a concern. It's a small concern. Lane Johnson, yet another year under his belt. He's great. He's elite, but he's up there in age. Could everything be so perfect again? That's I'm kind of like giving a reason to go the under, but to me, if he plays 15 games, he's getting over 1,500. He's that dominant and that special with this offensive line.
Yeah, I would agree, but it's a no play or an under for me because I guess I would be leery of him playing 15 games again. I mean, you got it once. It was great. Can you get that again? Maybe, possibly, but I wouldn't put money on it to see it.
It's a no play. Yeah, I don't. You always look for value when you do these. I call these fantasy props.
Yep.
These are pretty tight, man. To be honest with you, these are not like great.
I know he's going to be for a lot of people the number 1 overall pick in fantasy football.
Oh,
I would not. I would just be a little leery of it. I'd probably be lean a little bit more toward maybe Jahmyr Gibbs if it's a PPR, especially just because of the injury history. I mean, I know you should be scared of that stuff, but it plays a role.
It does. I mean, it's at that position. Are you kidding me? You're a target to get hit. So, yeah. And then, the rushing TDs for Barkley, right. 11.5. The over's minus 125. The under is plus 105. So I get the odds makers think it's going to go over. Now, he had 13 rushing touchdowns last season, 2 receiving.
Yeah. I don't know. That's
tush push
with Jalen Hurts and the tush push. And let's say A.J. Dillon makes the team and he's a short yardage guy. That's a no play for me.
Yeah. By the way, the rushing, I could not find the rushing TD prop for Hurts. So we'll have it. Everything gets out by late August. All the books put them out, but they don't have a lot of motivation to put the ones that should be out, but they're not out yet. But yeah, so this one with Barkley, if I had to go, I would go under plus 105. If I had to.
If you put a gun to my head and made me wager, I'd probably wager the under as well.
Yeah.
All right, AJ Brown, his receiving yards 1,150.5, and over and under are the same at minus 110. I feel like last year, remember, he missed a couple of games with the hamstring early on. He only played 13 games, and he still got to 1,079. His numbers, his advanced stats are all pretty good. He had the highest catch percentage of his year. He had a really high second highest yards per target of his career. So I'm not afraid of this. He's right up there, 83 yards per game last year, which is higher than his career average. I'm absolutely not afraid of the 1150. If you put a gun to my head and maybe, you worry about the knee and the injury year after year, but he's been great so far. So I would have no problem going over 1150 on this.
Yeah, I probably would. He did miss 4 games, the last game, because they didn't need him to play against the Giants.
Right.
And then he had the injury early in the season. He still had 5 games, 5 games of over 100 yards. Now, the targets were still per game pretty solid. because it starts with him. That's pretty much the pass target tree. He's going to lead it.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I had to take a side, I like it mildly. That it's minus 110 either way. On the over under 1150.5. Yeah, so 1151 on the over. I would lean towards that one.
Right. Now the touchdowns are 7.5 with an over of plus 100 and under of minus 120. It's kind of a no play for me only because these are hard for wide receivers. I mean, there's been years where he's had double digits, 11. There's been years where he's at 7 and 7. He's had great years. He had 1,456 yards 2 years ago, but only 7 touchdowns. So just because of the way he has to share touchdowns, right, with Goddard and with Devonta Smith and with the running backs and with Hurts, I don't like to have to put money on that.
I would take the over because in 22 we get it. It was his first year. The league didn't know what was coming, and he was incredible. He tied his career high, which he had in Tennessee in 2020 for 11 touchdowns. The last 2 seasons, 7 each. The 7 last year with missing 4 games. And they were a low volume pass team in terms of attempts. But he's so difficult to play. Now, I wish it was 7, not 7.5, because you could get a push at 7 and get your money back. The over 7.5 is plus 100. The under is minus 120. Could he get 8 touchdowns? Yes. I would have very small lean towards the over.
Okay.
I don't love it.
Yeah, I don't know where my lean would
be.
What's that? Yeah, I just don't like it in general. I'm trying to figure out where my lean would be, and I don't know where I'd lean, so I just wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't touch it. All right, let's finish off with Devonta Smith. I think this one's a really good one to jump on. Receiving yards 850.5. The over and under are the same at minus 110. Last year he had 833, but he also missed 2 games. I mean, he's generally
he missed 4. By the way, he missed 4.
I'm sorry, 4. Oh, yeah, I was doing the wrong math. Yeah, 4 games. I would pound the over.
Yes.
Pound
Come on. He had 833 in 13. It's very hard to forecast in terms of pass attempts for Hurts because it goes through Barkley. But again, we don't see Barkley being as successful for one reason or another, just because of terms of total yardage. So, yeah, I hate the word lock, but this to me of Hurts, Barkley, Brown, and Smitty. I love this over. I'm with you totally. The 8. So you need 851 yards.
Yeah.
To get it, and for each 110 you bet, you get 100 plus your bet back, so you win 100. You lose the juice, the 100, the 110. So yeah, I like the over.
Yeah, me too. And you know what? I do. In the touchdowns, a little bit dicier. It's 6.5, which means you need 7 to win. Over is plus 100, under is minus 120, and he is right around that for his career. He's had the second year he had 7, third year he had 7, last year at 8. I still would lean toward the over. I think Devonta Smith is really consistent. And as long as he's healthy, I think he's going to put up those kind of numbers. So I would still go with you. If you made me pick touchdown catches, which I always hate to do for receivers, I would still take the over.
I'm surprised, man. I thought he'd be like because he was in 21 his rookie season, 5 touchdowns. I mean, 7, then 8 after that.
Yeah,
does surprise me, man. It's not what you would think because he's not AJ Brown in terms of physical strength,
right?
But we know how tough he is, man, and he's got great body control. That's the big thing for him. 7, the over 6.5 is plus 100. The under is minus 120. I would have a small lean towards the over. My thing. You and I are seeing this completely the same. The receiving yards is it, man. I just don't see it. I don't see any way that he's not going over it. I don't see any way he doesn't get at least 851 if he plays 15 games.
I still think, and you see this a lot with wide receivers who are good in year 3, 4, or 5, where you get that takeoff year, kind of like AJ Brown's first year with the Eagles. I think Devonta Smith has that 1,300, 10 touchdown. I think he could. Yeah, he's that
with
good.
AJ Brown and Goddard, and they're a low volume pass.
And some of that is also injury dependent on how the offense is looking. But I think he's that good of a player to be able to do it. You're right. The opportunity has to present itself, and I think at some point it's going to. So I would do it. I would.
Well, let's put it this way: in the one season that they were a passing offense, super. In terms of success, and the league just couldn't figure out what they were doing. Smith was unstoppable. He played every game.
Yep.
In 2022, 1196. The next year, all the issues We don't need to relive that season. Everything collapsed. The offense, which seemed to be mid-season solid, and then the regression started, and it bottomed out. Still at 1066. Devonta did. So, yeah, I hear you, but this one is because of it's not like he's a third target. He's number 2. That's the key.
Right. And then all it takes is kind of like that Washington game. All it takes is like maybe one game where you explode, you have 2 or 3 touchdowns, and then you're almost halfway to your mark for the year. All right, finishing off on defense, Jihad Campbell. This is just a rookie of the year future prop plus a defensive rookie of the year plus 1,800. I mean, it's tantalizing to throw a few bucks on something that's plus 1,800. But I mean, he's not. If he's going to play inside linebacker and start off that way, and then only be a rotational edge, it's going to be hard to win defensive rookie of the year.
I just don't see it. Yeah, I mean, I don't see it. Now, eventually, down the line, he could be incredibly, he could be a dominant football player because they don't know what they're going to do with him past the season. They have a ballpark idea what it'll look like this season, but past the season, they may not need him to play edge at all.
Right.
I mean, it just depends on how it goes and his learning and how healthy he is. But there's so much talent with this guy. I'm looking forward for him to not only see what we see this season, but in future seasons, what his role is going to be, how they use him, and hopefully Fangio doesn't retire over the next 1 or 2 years. I'm very curious. Vic sees it differently than others do, as we know.
Yeah.
So very curious to see how he deploys him.
Absolutely. All right, that was fun. That was a good look at the Eagles, what the expectations are, both individually and as a team. And that's going to do it for this episode of Inside the Bird, the leading podcast in Eagles intel. And as always, we thank you for flying with us inside the bird.